Alright, so some relationships happen by choice and others by chance. We can control some, but we can't control others. But what do we do to maintain in every situation a long lasting and healthy relationship? Let's find out. It's David again. Welcome to a talk with David. We're starting a new series today called Relationship, and today we're talking about how to build and maintain a long-lasting, healthy relationship. Okay, before we go further, if you've not hit that like button and that subscribe button, just take a while. Let's wait for you. Do it. I'm waiting. Alright, I'm sure you guys did. We're not going to be basing our relationship talk on just a boy and a girl in a sexual kind of relationship. We're going to be talking about relationships in general between families, between uncles and nephews and nieces, between brothers and sisters, between a boy and a girl. I mean, general, a relationship. Before we go further, let's try to define what relationship from the basis. What does it mean? What does it mean to be in a relationship? Okay, so from the dictionary, the way in which two or more persons are connected or things and the state of being connected. Okay, so we're going to try as much as we can to establish our illustrations so that as we go further, we come back to them as possible as we can so we can make this more understandable. All right, so I put out some factors here. I mean, some factors that we're going to be going through one after the other just to understand what we are talking about. Okay, so from our definition, one basic thing that wasn't left out was what? Connection. Talked about a way two people could be connected, two or more persons could be connected, or things, So the first thing we have to understand from the basis is every relationship has to have a connection. Now, how do we understand this from a physical illustration? We have wireless connections and we have wired connections, phones, gadgets, and all. So it means that when a relationship is established, there needs to be a movement between the two parties, something that connects them. So in a human race or between people, living things, there has to be something common. Now, it means you can be bonded with someone by chance. That's a case where family is involved. You were born into a family. You guys are connected by blood. You guys are connected by the same father, the same mother, or cousins, or whatever, just by blood, by lineage, right? And then what about those that you get to meet? Schools, workplaces, just different places you visit. You guys are connected by choice, meaning that when you guys get to meet, you are drawn together by a common interest. So first of all, there has to be something that connects you to another person. That is the connection we're talking about. So in order to understand why you're in a relationship with whomever it is because you guys are connected by a common thing. All right, that is established. The second thing we're going to be talking about is when there is a connection, what can we talk about that happens between these connections? Communication. Even wireless devices have a communication of signals. Wired connections also have communications. So the second thing you have to understand is there has to be a communication between both parties. You cannot have a relationship without a communication system. It is not possible. You guys are just going to be working on assumptions. You can't assume when a healthy relationship is supposed to last and stay healthy. You can't assume. All right, so communication is the second thing you have to consider. And this is very vital because while you guys communicate, you get to understand yourselves better. It gives you a better chance of knowing the person a better chance of knowing you. So you have to understand that you cannot and you will never be able to develop a relationship that is healthy, mutually understood, if you guys don't have a healthy communication system. It's not going to be possible. All right, thirdly, respect. Now, this is a factor that is seriously misunderstood. What is respect? Respect in its form is so underrated that a lot of persons don't even know how to dish it out. Let me try to be as plain as possible. You can only respect someone when you do so in the way they want to be respected. Okay, let me try to explain this. A lot of us think that when we think of the possible ways, the appropriate ways we give respect to someone, it doesn't matter how they want it. It doesn't matter what they see as respect. As long as we feel what we are doing is the right way to do it in the way we want to do it, that is respect. And that's the problem a lot of persons have. People have different perspective about things, all right? We get into arguments and we get to talk a lot. We get to throw shades. We get to say some kind of silly comments. You know, it might be controversial, very controversial arguments. It might just be very little things that we don't really agree about. The problem is we make silly comments in those conversations, and most of us don't even learn or try to see how they hurt the next person. You know, like we do it repeatedly. It could be things that we call sarcasm or having a sense of humor. I want to say this. Yes, there is sarcasm. There is having a sense of humor. But if you have someone who hasn't actually been built that way to take sarcasm well, or your sense of humor lightly, don't dish it out to that person. Try to understand people for what and who they are and how they see things. So it means that if you're dealing with person A and your sarcasm was perfect, on point when you were talking about a certain issue, and person B, in most cases you try that same way and it didn't work, then it's very easy and it's so cool, you know, for you to understand that this is not the way to go with person B. It's disrespectful to him or her. It gets her, it gets him angry. It gets her, it gets him agitated in a way. You have to respect that. The fact that someone else was able to take it doesn't mean you have to dish it out to someone else and force them to. So respect has to be understood in the context and in the subjective nature of everybody. Respect is subjective. That is what I'm trying to say. Also very important. Learn to listen and respond appropriately. A lot of us listen just because we want to talk back. We don't listen because we want to understand. It's a big problem. Most of us, especially when typing, texting, we text, we don't even wait for the text to drop. We just text back because maybe what the person said in the previous text was so not on point with what you were feeling, and you just had to respond back immediately. This is also a big problem for us. We have to learn to respect people's opinions about things, listen and respond appropriately. You know, doing this over time makes you understand. You don't just understand the person. You're able to create an atmosphere that is so fluid and so transparent. You guys understand yourself. It means that even when you see you guys are talking, you can actually know instantly what the person wants to say or the direction the person wants to go. All right. Learn to listen even when you're not fully interested. This is something else that is so important. Most of us, in the middle of a conversation, we lose interest. And let's face it, we have people around our circle that love to talk. Some people, when they get scared or when they're concerned about something, they talk a lot and they just want to be heard. If someone knows that they talk too much and there is always someone to listen, that person will develop a kind of love and liking for you that is so pure, because you listen to the nonsense they have to say. You know, you just pay attention. It might not be interesting. You don't even understand what they're trying to say sometimes, most of the time, but you gave them an ear to listen to, you know, like it's to be heard. You know, you did what you had to do. It's very, very important. These things are little things that people don't know. They're very, 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 very important, very effective in a relationship. All right. Don't shy away from controversial topics. A lot of relationships have fallen apart because they never stood the ground when it came to topics that needed serious ironing, serious pressing. Some relationships are so weak that they are built on good times. They are built on acceptance. They are built on mutual understanding all the time. Who told you so? A relationship can only stand the test of time when we have controversial topics and we can actually talk about them, being respectful and being able to understand each other's opinions and respect it and stay in our lane. You cannot afford to be in a relationship where everything is between you guys is positive, is smooth, it doesn't work. In fact, I believe I've seen a lot of couples and I've heard people talk, from talk shows and all reality stuff, and I've understood that the best long-lasting and healthy relationships are the ones that actually have the most arguments. You might not agree with me, but it's okay. But trust me, when I'm telling you this, I'm not just faking it. A relationship that is built on people having talks where they disagree and they're able to sit down and talk about their disagreements and iron them out. Those relationships, they have better chances of standing the test of time. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. You get to understand this maybe with more experience, but this is just a point I needed to put out there. Don't shy away from controversial topics. Don't keep it for someone else. Don't try to say, she won't. No, he won't do no. Nah, my uncle does. No, talk about things. You guys should learn to argue. Healthy arguments are good. Explain yourselves whenever necessary to clarify any misunderstanding. There is this popular saying that says you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. I see those kind of write-ups and I always pause to think about it, because I'm the kind of person that if I really care about you and how you feel about what's going on or what happened, I explain immediately. Okay, I don't know about people, but for me, when you call my phone and I couldn't pick at the moment, somehow when I get back to that phone, I feel obliged to text you back and explain almost in details what I was doing at that time, and what happens is this has been able to help me build relationships with people in a way that anytime I tell them something, they trust my word. They take it for it. They take my word for it. They understand that, this is actually what he's saying. Funny enough, it has worked for me over time. I didn't do this because I read it somewhere. I just felt that, and up to now I still feel that way. It is just an obligation to explain yourself to a point where if you really care about the next party, they should be able to understand you in a way that makes them safe, comfortable, and trust you. Why not explain? What's wrong with explaining yourself? What's so big about it? Just try as much as you can to explain yourself in situations that are necessary. Do this for yourself. It's not for the person. Just get off with it. Just do it so you could be okay. It's not a big deal. What's a big deal about it? All right. So another factor is you should have to understand this, and this is very, very important. Actually, all of them are. No relationship can survive without giving. No. Let me repeat this again. No relationship, whatever it is, like we mentioned earlier, can survive without giving. It's not even possible. And when I just said giving, a lot of persons are going, oh wow, okay, gifts. No, listen. Giving has to do with you being able to sacrifice something, something that is important at a particular time to you. That's also a form of giving, and that could be time. Give your time. If you can't give your time, give your finances. Offer help, some form of help in a different way. All I'm trying to say is no relationship can survive without a form of giving, without a form of sacrifice. Relationship is not operated when it is convenient for you. You have brought someone into your life. If you love them enough to make them stay, we all have issues we deal with every day. Okay? It is so blissful knowing that someone somewhere gives you time, their time, precious time, takes out that moment to think of you, call you, text you, that's all they could give. And they did. Or be there for you when you need something, offer form of help, advice, ideas, finances, gifts, whatever it is, acts of service. It's very, very important to know that, and it's very, very important to do it as well. You cannot have a relationship long lasting and healthy without giving any form at all, without making sacrifices that will cost you a bit. You don't have to always be in your comfort zone to be in an operational and healthy relationship. It's not going to be functional that way. It's not possible. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about, not the least, because of course there are a lot of things. This is just relationship, maintaining a healthy, long-lasting relationship, volume 1. We're going to have different series where we're going to have to talk about a lot of things, different things from different angles. But the last thing I want to talk about is you have to understand you can't play every role in a person's life. This is so big a topic on its own, but it's a factor here because if understood, you won't put yourself in harm's way and always try to go overboard with what you're doing. You cannot be everything to one person. Identify your spot, respect your place, and even when you fail to sometimes, make sure you do so and you come back being yourself most often than not. I mean your place, you take your place most often than not. You have to respect the place you are in someone's life. You can't be everything. You can't be everyone. You can't kill yourself. You know what I mean? When you understand these things, you would actually know how to be the best version of yourself in a relationship. The best version of yourself to a friend, to an uncle, to an aunt, to a family member. Respect your place. These are 9 factors from the beginner's level. I mean, volume 101, trying to understand how to be the long-lasting relationships. There's something you should know. These things are not inherently just part of us. We have to work towards them. They are not things you just acquire when you start a relationship. No, you build them. You would fail at building them, but you won't have to stop if you care. You would do it again. You would learn over and over how to adapt and become better, as time goes on. All right, so I just needed to put this out there. This video was quite long, but of course I told you I love to talk, and I hope this made sense. Okay, this is just a start of this series, and it's something I've actually really wanted to talk about, and I'm glad I started it. Hit that like button. I want you to comment down below if you like this video, and also subscribe and share this video with a friend. Thank you.